This is Scott Abel, co-founder and president of Prepjet. I wanted to talk to you since we've been doing some recordings today, and it just crossed my mind that given that it is now a new year, I'd like to sort of give you an update on what's been going on here at Prepjet. One, I want to thank the thousands of people that have helped Prepjet grow since we launched 5 years ago. In those 5 short years, we have managed to enroll and license approximately 35% of the applicant pool. That's a pretty big number, considering that I ran the 2 largest brands, or what were the 2 largest brands, for almost 30 years. I'm very, very proud of what we've accomplished at Prepjet, thanks to the trust and confidence of applicants like you. You know, at Prepjet, we don't believe in teaching psychology. We think too many applicants have been held hostage by other brands for far too long by reading a lot of content that isn't always targeted towards items you could be asked about on the EPPP. Dr. Markovitz and I have a deep belief that you already know psychology. You went to an accredited school, not APA accredited, but an accredited institution of higher learning, and you have your degree, whether it be a master's, a PhD, or a PsyD. Now, when I entered this industry long time ago, decades ago, back then, schools had very broad-based psychology programs. Well, in the last 10 years, many schools have become more targeted in terms of the focus. Maybe they teach more of social psychology or more humanistic type of therapies, etc. It's changed. The field of education and mental health has gone through a real evolution since I started in this industry over 30 years ago. There was a time where I licensed all of the competitors that I had at one time. And I'm very proud of the fact that our core group at Prepjet has created something that has made a big difference in the lives of thousands of applicants. But we still have a lot of work to do. They always say that the first 30% of your growth is easy. The second 30% you really have to work for. That's why we have not given up, and we have been relentless in terms of Diane's constantly updating our summaries, our quiz questions, and yes, even our exam items. We're not big on the idea of you becoming a chronic test taker. We're not big on the idea of having you pay a boatload of money up front. I see people who've spent $1,500 to $2,000 on day one just to get started with the program, and they get no guidance. This is obscene. I talk to applicants who are reading content that hasn't been updated probably in 12, 13 years. And even though this exam is dated and it is not cutting edge, and those applicants in their early 30s are probably really well prepared for the real world, there's a lot of stuff they were taught in school that will not be on this test. As my colleague, Dr. Pat Barth, once told me when I was at our Houston workshop decades ago, Scott, we need to remind people that this is the most regressive thing they're ever going to do. And it is. Sometimes you just have to forget what you think you know. Because if it was based on what you're taught in school, then maybe the failure rate wouldn't be over 50%. And with the addition of EPPP2, it's going to take people many more years to pass this test. In its way, Prepjet has been in touch with many psych associations, advocating that they get better organized and working with state legislatures to not adopt EPPP2. I have said and have been quite vocal on this. What articles have you read in the newspaper or seen on television about psychologists being undereducated, underprepared? The APA has accredited many higher institutions of learning for a good reason. Their curriculum is satisfactory. You have both the skills and the knowledge, and now you must pass EPPP1. But in a few states already, Applicants are being forced to take this ridiculous EPPP2, which merely means more money to the state psych boards, more money to Pearson, more money to Certimi, and less money for you, and an additional exam. I know of very few fields where you have to pass 2 national exams as well as a state exam. It's obscene. So we're not just about helping you pass the test. We want to make a difference in building a community within our own community, helping applicants advocate for their field. North America has been plagued with COVID now for several years. Families are in trouble. Young people have been traumatized. Many of you, like myself, know people who've died or become severely ill as a result of this disease. And as a result, there is a greater need for mental health professionals. And you are the ones that should be at the forefront in helping our families find solutions to the challenges they are facing today. The field of psychology has diminished substantially since I began. Back in the old days, we had 11,000 applicants. Today, the applicant pool has shrunk to around 4,000 to 5,000 maximum. Why is that? It's because of managed care, because they're going to pay you the same amount they're going to pay an MFT. And if they're going to pay you a little bit more, it just doesn't seem fair. Managed care has done a lot of harm. On top of that, this economy, starting salaries, have not kept pace with the cost of living. Psychologists are part of our culture, and yet they too are suffering just like the families in Canada and here in the United States. That's why we need to get you licensed. We're not here to hold people hostage. I want people in and out. Most first-timers should be in and out in 90 days. If you need longer time because you suffer from something like ADHD, or dyslexia, or PTSD, we know that there's a big percentage of you out there, and we work with them. If English is your second language, you need more time as well. We work with many people where English is a second language. I'm here to tell you that I have spoken to literally thousands and thousands of people since we launched Prepjet. And now we're in a brand new year. And I want to tell you that we have done everything we can to keep our prices pretty close to what they were when we launched. We've added a lot of features and benefits, and we're still giving as much personal attention today as we did when we launched. And we've launched the masterclass with Jill and Joyce, both of whom failed the EPPP and then passed and came up with a strategy to help others pass their exam. We're not interested in teaching didactic lectures on social psychology. I think that went out with the 90s. It was time for something different. Dr. Markovitz, my colleague and the co-founder of Prepjet, is the one man who has made probably the biggest difference in our field. He created the first PsyD program ever accredited by the American Psychological Association, and he did that some 35, 40 years ago. He created the first college of psychology that was accredited as a PsyD program in North America, and he built a college in Canada, the first American ever invited to do so. He's a great man, and he believed in my team and I, and he gave us the opportunity to form Prepjet. He's not only been a mentor to me since the 1990s, but he cares about the academic quality of what we offer, which is why I rely heavily on Diane Edwards and her nearly 40 years of experience in crafting content that will lead to a passing score. The days of 2-day and 4-day workshops, 8-hour workshops, ridiculous. It's over. It's been over for a long time. And books, no one's going to read all those books. They stopped reading those books decades ago. They buy them, they look at them, but they're more interested in taking tests. And that's where we have to correct that behavior. Because The brands know you love to take tests, and they would rather crank out more test questions or just sell you the same ones they've been selling for years because they know that that's what you care about. They're feeding and exploiting your fear of failure. And I can assure you, taking tests will not lead to a passing score. There is no learning involved with taking a test, except what you don't know. And without the right tools to target what you don't know and how then to change that into something that you do know, you need guidance. And those tools are all built into the Prepjet program. I don't care what program you use. It's not going to change or alter the quality of my life. There's a basic program, a plus program, and a premium. Pick one that works for you. But understand this, we're committed to licensing as many people as we can. We are committed to helping people who are struggling in these difficult times. We're going to be going through a lot of difficult times for a while, and we need you licensed to help the families in your community. And I can tell you in closing that in the years that we have been able to work successfully with so many applicants, I can tell you that only one time did I have a client that I found difficult to work with. I work with some of the nicest, kindest, most intelligent, and educated people I have ever met. And it's good to be back in the trenches after 30 years of sitting in an office behind a desk looking at financials, talking about marketing and customer service issues. I love talking to our applicants and working with them. And my colleague Ethan, who we've been grooming for some time, does the same thing, reading the bar graphs, giving targeted guidance. That's what we do at Prepjet. Dr. Horry, myself, Diane, Andrew, Julie, Ingrid, these are people I have worked with for decades, many decades. And all of us are committed to your success. So I wanted to just take a few minutes and say thank you for those of you that have trusted Prepjet and worked with Prepjet. And to those of you that haven't, I invite you to use the free trial. Don't waste your money on taking that ridiculous PEPO. It's a bunch of obsolete questions you're never going to see on the real test. The only thing the PEPO does is expose you to how convoluted the questions are. But they're retired questions, so what a waste of your money. Because the free trial allows you to take our diagnostic exam. Don't waste your time or your money on the PEPO. As I've said many, many times, those are obsolete questions. You're not going to see them. And it's just a moneymaker for the ASPPB. You're going to see how convoluted the questions are, but why would you want to spend money on that when you can just take our diagnostic exam? It's free. You don't have to buy anything. Just take the diagnostic exam. Because those questions are questions that are relevant to the EPPP as it is given today. The PEPO consists of obsolete questions, dealing with obsolete topics you will not be dealing with. And it just drives me crazy when I see people take that stupid test and then panic. Oh, I'm not ready. Or it says I'm ready. It's a false sense of security or insecurity. And I think there's enough insecurity out there with this exam to begin with. The free trial allows you to see a sampling of our questions, a sampling of some of the summary content, and the diagnostic test. Again, it's a short exam. It's not 225 questions, but it's enough questions to give you an idea on how you would fare in all 11 domains. Now, if you're watching this, remember, if you become a Prepjet client, go to the video library where I can talk to you about the big six. The big six are the 6 domains that carry the most weight. Again, in closing, those of you that have used Prepjet, I want to thank you. Those of you that have referred clients to us, we're very grateful. You know, I can't even think of the right word, but I am eternally grateful because so many of the people that come to Prepjet have done so at the suggestion of someone who've used Prepjet. When you get that kind of a referral, a reference, well, it speaks well, I think, of the company and your friend. We are very moved and appreciative every single time someone says, my friend passed using your company, I'd like to try. Every day we get emails from folks who have failed multiple times. They've used 3 different brands and they still can't pass. And it's a bit of a shock to their system when we tell them, we'll stop taking mock exams. Let's start learning, and let's learn together. That's why we have free workshops. That's why we offer the opportunity for people, if you want coaching, there's a package that includes it. And of course, you're under no obligation if you want to send your bar graphs so we can tell you, because those bar graphs are so misleading. No one has mastered the candidate handbook, but that's what we do. So when I look at someone's bar graphs who gets a 450 or someone who gets a 327 or a 238, I can tell them it's not what you think it is. The problems are not clear-cut by looking at those 8 graphs. And those 8 graphs don't mean much because some graphs are worth more points than others. Some graphs that say statistics, research, design, well, those aren't the only questions that are covered in that particular area. These are things I address on many of the strategic testing videos that we've put out. And on that note, I'll just close by simply saying, come to our next free workshop on test-taking strategies. Learn more about the test. And after you've done the diagnostic exam or done the free trial, you decide to give us a try, just count the months before your testing. Most applicants need 90 days. So don't sign up for the test and then start selecting companies to help you. The thing you should be doing first is studying and then select an exam date. That's the proper way. Because if you pick a date and you realize halfway through your studies you're not going to be ready, you got to pay a fee to change that date. So be a good consumer. Begin your studies, and as you see yourself progress, go online, pay for your date, secure your date, then count backwards as to the number of hours in each week that you have available. Most of you that are working a 40, 50-hour work week, you need 90 days. Those of you that are not working, obviously you may not need that much time. You may have other obligations, such as parenting. And of course, you need to make time for self-care, and nobody studies after 8 o'clock at night. I want to thank you again. Thank you for watching this. Thank you for trusting us. Thank you for giving me your time. And I want to wish all of you the very best in the new year and all the success. And get your state psych association, your county psych association, do everything you can to advocate for your profession. Make sure your legislatures hear from you. You do not want EPPP2 adopted by your state psychology board. It is a money grab for the test prep companies, the state boards that live off fees and fines. It's a money grab by the ASPPB, Pearson, Certame. Everybody profits except you. Again, you're the only field I know of that has to take 2 national exams and a state exam in many cases. And that's absolutely ridiculous. Again, it's not just about passing the test. We want to advocate for your field. And we need to get as many of you licensed as we can during these difficult times. One day things are going to improve, but I think it's going to be a while. And we'll be here to support you and your colleagues as long as people trust us. Thank you, and have a good evening.